Too much.
The one for the weekend is back.
What does that mean?
That means the Premier League's back.
It's back!
And we have got loads to talk about.
Can I just say something?
Go on.
Fuck international football. There is it. I've said it. Don't need to say it anymore.
Well,
Feel better about
We're going to
myself.
have to talk about it again. That's fine. But the Premier League is back. Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers.
Spurs versus Liverpool, we're going to be talking about that. Everton versus West Ham, we're going to be talking about that. Room 69, we're taking a trip there. Football trivia, that's going to be there for you. Footballers' dreams, we're going to be looking at, which is getting funnier every week, as is disappointing headlines. You do not want to miss this week's disappointing headlines. We're heading off to Twinkles. Cole's not wearing his hat and not going to Twinkles.
Exactly. I know where Adam's been picking up his conquests. Wow. I know. So I followed him. And
Flames advice as well. Lots to talk about. Last week I wore a hat. You know, it was off the cuff and thought maybe this could be my thing. Back in year 8, of course, it was my thing where I would wear hats and the ladies were indifferent to it.
Right.
One comment just quickly wanted to read. We asked people, hat or no hat. Kurt Smith said this, no hat. You look like a paedophile fisherman and you're still short and chubby, James. I like you, but you need to hear these things. Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Flav.
You look like...
Do I?
This week you look like a lesbian. Let's do the football.
Thanks for that.
Let's do the football.
Right.
Big one, isn't it? Liverpool versus Tottenham.
Yes, mate. How
Big
are you feeling? You feeling good?
Feeling
ready for it?
Not... I feel like we've got a good chance. I feel like Liverpool got a good chance. Anyone can win. 50-50, innit?
Do you know what? We've done a few bits of content this week on Spurs-Liverpool.
I'm sick of talking about Spurs and Liverpool.
Well, yes. But one thing that we haven't truly dived into...
What's that?
...is the rivalry. Or as the Red Men said themselves on their podcast, the imaginary rivalry. We'll dive into this for a second, but
that's pejorative from their point of view.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What I must comment on is that every time I've spoken to you about Spurs-Liverpool and go, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
The look in your eyes is of, it's like Audley Harrison before he fought David Hay. You're scared.
That's
you're scared. You are a bit scared.
I'm not scared.
Because you just did it there. You go,
oh
yeah, I think we've got...
Look, there's no denying that Liverpool, in attacking sense, are probably the best team in the league.
You'll be hoping to bounce back, of course, after the Watford defeat.
Yeah, the Watford defeat took the wind out. So you're looking at that result, you're coming away from Watford and you're thinking, the last team you want to play is Liverpool. Because look, forget about my kind of disdain for the football club, and it's a general kind of feeling about most football clubs. So it's not special to Liverpool, although I have different feelings for Liverpool than I do, say, Birmingham. But you can't deny the fact that they are a very, very good football team, and they're heading in the right direction, and it's all down to Jurgen Klopp and the board, you know, supporting him in the way that managers need to be supported if you're going to be a successful football club. So Klopp has come in, he's been there, 3 years or so, and he really has transformed it from... he's transformed the team, but from a difficult position, because they were very close to running the league. And it was only the Gerrard slip that meant that they didn't win that league that season. So to kind of rebuild and re-go again is actually quite a challenge, and Klopp's done amazingly well, despite how irritating he is as a man.
What I will say, and again, we are going to get into this imaginary rivalry because I'm fascinated by this, and we're going to be talking about West Ham Everton as well, and there's an imaginary rivalry there, but is it imaginary or not? Because actually it is becoming a thing.
It's not imaginary.
The one thing I'll say about Liverpool, and look, I like watching Liverpool play. I think they've got a squad that can really contend this season.
Yeah.
The signings that they made have been cracking, and look, we've spoken about Alisson.
They're not even up to speed yet.
And they're not even up to speed. But you haven't played anyone yet.
Well, and I disagree with that. Every game.
You haven't played anyone yet.
Every game in the Premier League.
Come back in the comments next week and go, James, look, we've got a squad here. Literally say that, okay? But until then, just chill, because you need to beat someone properly, and you have.
Yeah, we have.
Spurs lot have. You've beaten Man United. Yes, you lost to Watford, and okay, that says something. But Liverpool haven't beaten anyone yet.
Mate, they're in the... I disagree completely with what you're saying.
They haven't beaten anyone.
What does that mean?
Leicester, Brighton, West Ham. I don't even know the Palace away.
West Ham's the only gimme, as it turns out. The rest of them are really tough games. In the Premier League, that you wouldn't know this. This is why you're coming up with this bollocks.
I'm not coming up with this bollocks.
You don't understand the Premier League.
Right.
How difficult it is. It's not like the Championship. We can like Brentford is 5th. That's how shit your league is.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. But all right, Adam on the ones and twos, by the way.
Yeah.
You good, Adam?
Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Very polite start. We'll see how it goes. Right, let's talk about this rivalry then. Because Chris and Paul were down earlier this week. They are claiming it's nonsense, but it is becoming something.
Look, it's not a rivalry like Spurs and Arsenal is a rivalry, or Liverpool, Everton, Liverpool, Man United. It's not a rivalry in the conventional sense of the word. They are real, genuine rivalries. This one is like born out of plebs on Twitter, myself included.
Well, so the starting point apparently from this so-called rivalry, which I think it is a rivalry, and I'll explain a bit later on, but we let Flav talk first, as we always do, right? But the root of this is Clint Dempsey, surprisingly. Now, Clint Dempsey was a long-term Liverpool target, and then Spurs signed him. Yeah. And Liverpool fans got a bit arsey about that, okay?
We weren't all that either.
He wasn't that great, was it? Well, no, he was good.
No.
Comparatively.
He was okay.
Well, he's a US legend, and we don't want to piss off the US fans. But from there became this hashtag of, what was the hashtag?
Get your own scouts. Which is...
which sounds beyond petty.
Which is funny, isn't it?
And then from there... It
was Ericsson as well. That was the big one. I think that was the one that Liverpool fans were most bitter about because, you know, Ericsson's such a good player and has turned out to be.
And now, so do you think it's a rivalry or not? Then I'll tell you why it is a rivalry.
I've just explained it. It's not a rivalry in the conventional sense, but in the new age of football Twitter, it's become a rivalry.
So is it a rivalry?
Spurs, I would think the majority of Spurs fans would rather feel more about beating Liverpool than they would, I don't know, Everton, for example.
Right.
But I think there's also parallels between how Liverpool treat Everton the way Arsenal fans used to treat Spurs or look at those clubs respectively. I think there's something in that as well. They see in Liverpool Arsenal to some degree.
Right, as a new,
just
new
like
person to take
the
down.
bigger club.
Right.
And the arrogance that comes with that.
So I think this is a rivalry, and I think it's only going to get more intense. And the reason for that is because there are, and it's common in any football league, right? They've got so many similarities, Liverpool and Spurs. Young manager, dynamic manager that's kind of brought players and made them better, manager who's made that team believe. You've then moved up. You both haven't won anything properly yet, so you're battling for that. You're both in the same transfer market, as you saw with the Clint Dempsey stuff, but for years and years, that's been the case where you're both going for the same players, and that's going to be the case for years to come as well.
Yep, I don't know. I don't agree with that either. I think Spurs are going to be hamstrung by this stadium somewhat.
Maybe for a little bit.
Look what Liverpool spent brilliantly this year. You know, they've won the transfer window, haven't they? My
point is that, and Adam, I bet you've got one as well somewhere. It might be maybe Brentford, Birmingham's one. Yeah. You end up having rivalries. QPR had one with Cardiff for a couple of years because we were both battling out in Division 2 as it was, in League 1, to get out of that league, and then you had a couple of tasty games. Of course, it sort of spawned into life last year when there was the Salah and Kane thing, both teams think, no, my player's better, no, my player's better. They're both going for the golden boot. Harry Kane starts claiming goals, and then you have the 2-2 game that was pretty controversial as well.
The other thing is
adds up.
Salah stoked that fire, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So, you know, look, they're clearly aware of it. I mean, from Salah's perspective, doesn't give a shit about the Liverpool rivalry with Tottenham. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put it on Salah because it's from this sort of Twitter cesspool of like...
I'm not putting it on him at all. But I'll tell you an example of where the feeling is I did a tweet on the Fighting Cock Twitter and said, look, something along, it was pretty inflammatory, and I was doing it just to wind them up, really. It weren't because I genuinely hate them or wanted them to feel bad. But it was something along the lines of, out of the 9 out of the last 10 seasons Spurs have finished, and there was like a little graph that showed how many times we finished above them.
Which has been regularly, hasn't it?
Which got retweeted a lot, but not just retweeted by Spurs fans, Man City, Man United, but all the rest of them. There is a kind of general kind of disdain for Liverpool, I think.
Because?
I think it's probably down to the fact that they behave in a way that makes that isn't befitting of the recent success, you know.
So I think that's coming in as well, because you have done better than Liverpool, but Liverpool have a better history than you. So It becomes this Twitter nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't mean it's not real.
But what I would say, though, to Liverpool's credit, is very much that's the right way to behave, to believe in your football club. And what I also say, Liverpool fans get behind their team in times of when things are not going well, when their form's out, better than any other, I think. They're always a unit, it feels like, from the outside looking in. They're always pulling in the same direction. They're always behind their manager, unless it's Roy Hodgson. But even that, there was a unity. They all hated Hodgson. Do you know what I mean? And I think, in terms of getting the best results and giving yourself the best chance, a united football club, as Liverpool always has been, is the best way to be.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of envy about Liverpool as well. Excuse me.
If 3 goals are scored on Saturday, this will become the Premier League's highest scoring fixture, overtaking the 151 goals scored in matches between Arsenal and Everton. And also, I thought this was quite interesting. 22 penalties, which is more than any other set of games in the competition's history. How do you see the game playing out before we then dive into our second imaginary rivalry, West Ham versus Everton?
I think Liverpool will come to play. I think Spurs will also try and play, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I think they're all knackered. I think they're all going to go. We've had a World Cup, and then we've started the season, then we've gone on international break, and these big clubs, every single player goes on international break, and then they come back, and I reckon it will be a really boring 1-1 draw.
Pajak said that Liverpool are not up and running yet, that they've won 4 games but haven't been the most convincing side that we saw last season. Do you think that's
safeguarding from Chris a little bit?
No, I think he's just telling the truth. I think that at this stage of the season, it's very difficult to be up and running and playing and getting to your pomp. It's not usually till like November, moving towards Christmas, where a team kind of peaks, and it's how you perform after that peak is whether or not you win championships and stuff like that.
Okay. Score prediction, please.
2-1 Spurs.
Ad?
3-3.
3-0.
He just didn't know. He caught him off guard.
Yeah, he doesn't.
3-0.
It doesn't really. He just in and out.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's just checking his Tinder.
Let us know your thoughts. Get your predictions down below. We now move on to Everton versus West Ham, and our second bizarre little rivalry that comes from the same thing. And this is why I think this is something that people are fighting, because, like you often do, you kind of want to stay with traditional rivalries where there was this, you had the big game, you had school, and then you had the big game on the Saturday, and you dreaded Monday because you're going to have to face whoever supported the other team. But now it's done constantly at every moment on Twitter.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it's more about tit for tat than this deep history, I think.
Yeah.
And so Everton West Ham is another one of those examples where you've got 2 teams that have money, the 2 teams with huge history, and 2 teams that basically are going for the same Europa League spot, and 2 teams that go for the same players again as well.
Yeah, and you see that. You saw the rivalries between Liverpool and Chelsea previously, and you've seen it between Arsenal and Man United when they were competing. Do you know what I mean? So it is about that as well. It's about what is in the space at that time, and who's in your way of stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. So it is one of those things. I wouldn't say that rivalry. You keep saying rivalry; it's the wrong word. That's the issue.
It is a rivalry.
If you use that terminology, you're always going to have this conversation. It's like hating the kid at school that you absolutely hated, and then the other one that's a bit irritating, but you kind of tolerate.
So Birmingham, is that a rivalry, Brentford?
Yeah, it is now. It is. But I don't
see. I would go like Cardiff, although I don't really get it. I would still say QPR Cardiff. There is a rivalry there because it came to be, and once it's done, it's done.
West Ham is a rivalry in any sense.
I think it is.
I haven't heard of it.
I think it is because ultimately you want to do better than you want to do better. And for West Ham and Everton, they're both
In which case you can have rivalries every year. You've got to hold something. It's got to be sacred. Rivalries are important, and you're diluting it by calling this sort of shit a rivalry.
No, but it is because of the league placing. It's a different kind. It doesn't fit the criteria that you want it to.
They're in competition.
Doesn't mean it's not a rivalry.
It does.
It does, because Everton and West Ham.
Let us know. You let us know in the comments. Is it a rivalry? Is Everton and Tottenham?
Are we arguing?
Yeah, we are. Is Everton and West Ham a rivalry? Is Tottenham and Liverpool a rivalry? Let them answer.
Because we're going to just carry on. They want to hear my opinion.
You've said your opinion about 4 times. You've said it over and over again.
I just want you.
Come on.
Do you know where he's picking up women now?
Are we going early beds?
Yeah. Do you know what Adam? Because Adam's like, I'm no more birds than that. It's embarrassing. It's beneath me. I don't like it. You don't have to, because I followed you, mate.
Massive rumours that you've been hanging around with sweaty men.
That's what it is. He downloaded an app called Footy Addicts.
Which is fine.
And he's picking up his dates at Footy Addicts now. Goes in, said, do you want a game of football? And ends up going to a pub. Wow. And then on to other places.
Any success with Hinge?
Giving Footy Addicts free advertising.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Adam is he's straight batting it. He's straight batting it. Back to Everton West Ham. West Ham's start of the season is shocking. But did you expect it? Because I did.
Did you really? I expected them to have some issues with the bedding in these players, and I understand the optimism of the West Ham fans, but it was always going to be difficult in the first instance. I didn't expect them to get beat 4 on the bounce. I mean, that's poor form.
I think what happened...
They could go down.
Honestly, the fixtures are so important. Because it starts a momentum for the rest of the season. And if I was Pellegrini, and maybe he did do this, but you look at those initial fixtures and they are tough.
Yeah.
You know, who are they playing? Liverpool, Arsenal, they've got Everton now, which isn't an easy game.
No, it's tough.
Bournemouth and Wolves, those were 2 games that they needed to get something from. And they should have really... And I'm sure they probably did focus on it and see those as games that they were going to get points from, but they didn't. That's what makes it looks so much worse.
Yeah.
Especially when they've spent the money that they have. But I do think that West Ham will sort themselves out.
What does that mean, though? What does that look like?
That's a really good point. I think
I
had them at 7th at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get a couple of points off these guys who had a lot of sort of World Cup stars coming back in those tough games, and it could have been seen as a good set of fixtures because you get them out of the way early. They will have a nicer run of fixtures leading up to Christmas because obviously you've got to play everyone else.
But like form and momentum and morale is a big thing, and you can't go into any Premier League season giving away games. It doesn't matter if you're playing Man City, Liverpool, whoever. You've got to compete, and that should be the bare minimum. Getting thumped 4-0 by Liverpool is a poor performance, regardless of who you are.
I think there's a problem as well sometimes when you're a team that's looking to
Watch
go.
Spurs get thumped 4-0 this week.
when you're looking at these kind of teams who are in this middle ground, like a Leicester or West Ham or Everton, who are trying to move forward. There's a problem that they have where you don't buy players who've got grit and work rate and know that they're going to be in a dogfight and all that stuff. You buy players who think that they're going to be, who have the potential to be great. So like Richarlison, Sigurdsson, Walcott's come from like a cracking club in Arsenal. And so then when you go and play the teams down the bottom, it's a big game for them.
Yeah.
But you haven't got the same quality that a Liverpool or a Spurs have. And then the other side of it is when you play the bigger teams, you sitting back and just defending for your lives is not acceptable. And so you get caught. I think these teams get caught in a middle ground sometimes. And I think that's why they have these ups and downs. And until Everton or West Ham find this formula like Spurs have, where they were able to move themselves up as a squad, a young squad, and then get the recruitment right and then move up and be consistent, I think they're always going to have those struggles.
Yeah.
Silva's come in 3 draws out of the first 4 matches, but the general consensus is that they can see that there's improvement there.
Yeah.
How do you see this one turning out?
I think Everton will beat West Ham quite handily, 2-0.
2-0. Walcott's an injury doubt. I'm not sure if he's playing or not. He's scored 6 Premier League goals against West Ham, more than any other team he's played. Room 69.
Gareth Southgate.
What?
Gareth Southgate.
You're kidding.
Just had enough of him whinging about the lack of quality at England.
So Room 69 is a foyer where you're eternally peckish, where footballers go to not die, but just generally be.
Just to get them out of our faces.
Yeah. And so Southgate, you've had enough of you?
I've had enough of Southgate. all he's done is moan about talent, lack of talent in there. This is an England squad he's picked from, and he doesn't include the young, precocious talent in these games that are meaningless. Foden, Sancho.
Go back and watch last week's
Sessegnon. Why aren't he putting his players?
My hat nearly went.
Why aren't he? What was the little noise about? Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, you've done your bit. You got us to the semi-final. Time to go. Get someone else in. Someone else in now.
That's my favourite Room 69 of all time. Last week's Time for Football Trivia. Now, on this podcast, we give. We don't just take.
Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm saying there.
No.
But every week we give you some football trivia because blokes love trivia, don't they?
They do.
They bloody love it. Last week we asked you this. Which 4 Italians scored Premier League hat-tricks? A lot of you got the answer right. The answer was Fabrizio Ravanelli, who scored 3 in his opening game against Liverpool for Middlesbrough. Do you remember that?
I do remember it. Yeah.
He actually scored 2. He scored one in a 6-1 win against Derby County as well. Gianluca Vialli scored against Barnsley, away at Barnsley in a 6-0 win for Chelsea. Yeah. Zola in a 4-0 win against Derby County. Struggling, didn't they, Derby? And Mario Balotelli, which was the one that quite a few people didn't get. Man City versus Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, sometimes we worry with this that people are doping. The big thing is, if you Google, we realise that you're Googling, you will be blocked from the channel.
Yeah.
And one of these 3 answers that are all correct, one of them feels a bit dopey to me.
Go on then, why?
So first one, Jurgen Klopp got it right. He said Vialli, Zola, Ravanelli, brackets classic, and Balotelli. Andy Benji went, the 4 Italians to have scored Premier League hat-tricks are Vialli, Zola, Ravanelli and Balotelli.
Right.
And then James White said, #trivia, Vialli, Zola, Balotelli, Ravanelli. Now, I think Andy Benji's been on the dope.
I think James White's been on the dope.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Why?
like a question mark. It's like he knows because he looked it up.
Yeah.
But he's put a question mark in suggestion.
I didn't even see that.
I'm not sure. So I'm going to make you think that I'm not 100% sure, so I'm guessing, but he hasn't guessed.
I didn't even see that.
He's Googled it up. James White, you're a cheat.
Yeah.
You're an absolute... You make me sick, James White.
Well, do you know what, Andy Benji, I think you're a cheat, mate.
Andy Benji and James White. Someone find out where these people live.
Yeah. Andy Benji, he's trying to be too formal and a bit too busy with this answer.
A little bit too busy.
4 Italians to have scored the Premier League hat-trick to Vialli. Because I actually, initially, before I saw the question mark, I liked James White because it went, #trivia, answer.
No, but it's a question mark in the end. It's the question mark. This is why you played yourself, mate. James, I know all about you. I know where you live. I know what school you go to. I know what you have for dinner. Yeah. It's waffles and chips. That's what it is. It's 2 potato-based items. It's not weird.
Double
it's
carbs,
weird.
you mad?
Double carbs, mate.
Fucking.
That's what you're about, James White. You're a double carb
mug.
Nutcase.
So we leave it to you, of course.
Let us know
in the comments below. #James White, lover the dope, or James White. No love of the dope.
Yes,
same goes for Andy Benji and all.
Or should we just save James White or ban James White? Easy.
Well, we can't. We're saving Adam, aren't we? So we can't have that hashtag. So #James White, love of the dope or no love of the dope.
Yeah.
Whilst I'm there, just quickly, Adam on the 1s and 2s. Can we save his job? To do that by Christmas, we need to get to 100k subscribers.
Yeah.
100k or he's gone. So if you're watching right now, take 3 seconds to move.
Imagine
whatever
that,
it is.
Christmas Day, no job, because you lot couldn't be bothered to just hit a button.
But let's quickly look at the countdown on Adam's job. There it is. So hit the subscribe button if you're watching for the first time and save Adam. And I've seen on other videos, actually, quite pleased, #save Adam's job.
Yeah, can you get this going?
Traction.
#save Adam's
seen
job.
it on other videos, so pleased with that.
Subscribe for Adam.
Subscribe for Adam, exactly. Right, this week, here's your question. Which club has the worst all-time Premier League goal difference?
Is it? Actually, it doesn't matter, because if I get it right,
yeah, then it's rubbish.
It's ruined, isn't it?
Which club has the worst all-time Premier League goal difference? Footballers' dreams.
Go on then.
I did a song, didn't I, last time? Footballers' dreams can happen to you. Look at Flav, he's had 2. Occasionally they happen, but you know you gotta be strong. Works with the hat.
It does, yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, go back and watch the other podcasts because they are brilliant. And Flav told you about his dream about Sean Derry in a hot tub with Sven-Goran Eriksson. He stood up. He's only got a vagina. Well, you guys have gone. Josh Reynolds has he's analysed your dreams.
Go on, Em.
And let us know in the comments below your dreams that you've had that have involved footballers. I'm going to read out a couple and we're going to analyse them. But first of all, we're going to analyse your dream with Sean Derry. So Josh Reynolds says this: I'm no psychology student, but I have a theory on Flav's dream. I believe Sean Derry, a QPR legend, represents James and is the embodiment of Flav's affection for him. Sven is an ambassador for Fan League who sponsored the podcast, thus representing being close to /spending time with James. Sean Derry revealing his vagina represents Flav's feelings that if only James were a woman, then they could have been together. #Flames forever. That might be true.
That's 100% true.
Your dreams, right? We're getting quite a few now, so keep them coming in the comments below. But here's a few that I enjoyed from last week. And don't worry, I've got the others as well. But Patrick White, I had a dream a week ago. I was with friends and Mesut Ozil. We were being chased by witches. We managed to escape, but Ozil didn't get away in the end because he won't run.
I don't believe that's true.
You don't think that's true?
Not at all. I think you just made it up.
Joe McElroy. Like 10 years ago, when I was 8, Gerrard was my god, captain of my team and the best player at the time. Once had a dream. He came into my primary school at the time, hit my teacher, Miss O'Connor as well, punched the fire alarm in the classroom and escaped by running across the field and jumping like a ninja over the fence. Never looked at him the same after.
I believe that one.
Yeah. Why has that happened, do you think?
Oh, what?
Why has Gerrard come into his dream? Analyse that one for
I
us.
don't know why. Yeah, just carry on.
All right. You're not going to analyse it?
What am I supposed to say?
I said, well, look, these things happen for a reason.
I don't understand why. I don't know. Carry on.
Well, analyse for Flav, if that's all right.
They can let them do it. I'm doing. How much work do you want me to do?
Well, I mean, you've done nothing. I do the soul running on her every week.
Go on then. Next one. Anthony Barrett.
Anthony Barrett. Just a quick one here. I had a dream about a year ago. Zinedine Zidane gave me and my dad a tour of the Bernabeu. We then went for dinner after. He was a cracking bloke.
Lovely.
That.
Lovely.
Really love that. Right, it's that time. Disappointing headlines. This started last week. You guys liked it, so we're bringing it back. And this one is class. Last week, it was a nonce headline, wasn't it? It was about Adam Johnson's sister.
Countdown till nonce footballer release. So that's Daily Star. What have we got this week?
So yeah, if you see any disappointing headings, of course, put it in the comments. This week,
Daily Mail, isn't it?
Daily Mail is on show this week, which is also a horrific newspaper. And the headline goes like this. You should have called David De Gea. Alexis Sanchez drops huge bag of Doritos on his way out of Tesco.
Is that it?
That's it.
What's the story?
The sub-headline to it are also hilarious. Alexis Sanchez was pictured dropping a bag of Doritos on Wednesday. The Manchester United man made the gaff.
The gaff? It sounds like he executed it perfectly.
Outside Tesco in Altrincham. He could be seen scrambling to pick the crisps up before heading to his car. Chilean forward Sanchez drives a Bentayga, I don't know, cars,
whatever,
worth around 150.
That's incredible. Scrambles. It's the words, isn't it? It's the adjective.
Gaff.
Gaff. Scrambled. Made the gaff. What? How have they? So there is a newsroom. This has genuinely happened, right? This is someone's working life.
Right.
This is working life, right? And they're sitting around. This is what happens in newsrooms, right? They sit around, right, and they think, right, what's going on in the news? And they might get a picture come in. So they have people who work for them or supply them with images, or they'll find an image on Twitter and they'll say, can we have your permission to use this? What they do then is they take your image and they monetize that, right? So if anyone asks you, that's fine, go and do it, but you say, I want a fee, right? You're in your rights to do that. But what's happened is they've got this image and the editor's sitting there, go, what you got?
Newsroom. Vivian, what you got?
Well, I've just seen this picture on Twitter. I might probably be able to get it because these people are idiots and give this stuff away for free. It's a picture of Alexis Sanchez dropping a pack of Doritos.
I like it. Where is he?
He's at the front door of one of his teammates.
Bingo. Perfect. Was he driving his car?
I think it's a Bentley Benego.
Yeah, was it expensive?
Very expensive.
Yeah, go for it.
The peasants couldn't afford it, so it must be expensive. That would have been a conversation. And then they've gone, and then some poor bastard, right, who went to university and did journalism, right, and he has dreams of being a novelist one day, right? Because that's all. No one gets into journalism to work for the Daily Mail. It pays well, and there's lots of jobs there, right? You end up going there on a road to somewhere else much better and more wholesome. Some poor bastard is sitting at his desk going, really, Janice? Is there nothing else?
It's good, because once it's gone live, I can't take it back.
Is there nothing else?
So listen to this as well. Alexis Sanchez, this is the article, endured a moment to forget on Wednesday as he dropped a huge bag of crisps after a trip to the supermarket. The 29-year-old spent around 40 minutes in a Tesco store. No one cares! Coming out of the supermarket, Sanchez fumbled a large packet of Doritos before scrambling to pick them up. Fuck me. I mean, it was a gaff his Manchester United teammate, goalkeeper David De Gea, almost certainly wouldn't have made.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Enough.
Is there a name? Who wrote that article? Is there a name? Is there a byline on it?
Who wrote it? It just says by Sports Mail reporter.
Right, okay. Yeah,
no clear name on that
So it's
one.
just some chimp in a newsroom.
They're embarrassed by that.
All right.
Right.
Very good, though, Jim. That was a great one. Send us. Anyone sees any, send them in. We can do it next week.
People were fuming last week, but don't worry. And we're going a bit political this week. You might have noticed that George Ware's been in the news.
Yep.
So I've compiled a few stat nuggets that we can take down to Twinkles.
Oh, yeah.
And use on the ladies.
Do I have to be a lady again?
Yeah,
Okay.
always.
Come down, Upper with the 99 remix.
George Way.
It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way. It's George Way.
It's George Way. What, babe?
All right, sweet. How you doing?
Ain't got it in you today. He's on a lemsip, guys.
I don't feel very well.
Hit that like button because he's struggling. All right, babe.
Yeah, I'm not.
What's your name? Nice beard.
What?
Nice beard.
Thank you.
So, you, love, you're a worldie, aren't you?
I mean, I've been told, yeah.
Speaking of worldies, George Ware was the first ever African World Footballer of the Year in 1995.
Oh, you are getting me moist.
What do you think about the standard of Twinkles tonight? Competitive?
It's a bit of a shithole, isn't it?
Speaking of competitive, George Ware is the only current international leader to score in 3 competitive fixtures against Gillingham. You like that?
Gillingham? What's that?
It's my moves, babe.
All right.
The Liberia president, yeah?
Yeah.
George Ware.
Yeah.
He played an international friendly for his country on Tuesday
Yeah.
at the age of 55.
Yeah.
That guy can go.
Oh,
So can I.
Can I ask you something, Dale?
Yeah.
Is it Dale?
Yeah, it's Dale.
I forgot your name. Right. Do you like women that don't wear knickers?
Just a bit. Prefer it. What's your head? Go on. Got any stat nuggets for me? This is going well.
I ain't got any knickers on, is my point. Oh.
So, this
really
seems to
hot.
be going well.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Are you looking for a keeper?
Yeah.
Speaking of keepers, Buffon made his debut for Parma at the age of 17 and played against AC Milan in 1995 against George Ware.
Oh, shit, this is too good.
He now plays in the same squad as his son, Tim Ware. Is that the right name? I'm not sure. 23 years later, babe. Get your coat. We're off.
All right, let's go, let's go. Can we stay for a bit now or just got to go now?
Let's go now.
All right. You're an eager beaver, aren't you?
Speaking of bit now.
There you go.
And that's Twinkles.
You're welcome.
Stat nuggets that you can take out into the clubs this weekend and enjoy. Flames advice, okay? Just to say, we've had some feedback from our Flames advice through the years. So I'm James, that's Flav. Together we are Flames. And for a while now on the One for the Weekend podcast, we've given out some advice. So if you need advice on something, let us know in the comments below and we will read it out next week.
I think everybody understands how agony aunt stuff works.
Okay.
Don't have to explain it.
All right, I won't. But no one's writing in, so I've gone back to Just Jane this week. But before that...
Oh, it's James White.
It's James White!
So James, I'm sorry about that before.
Yeah.
You're obviously a keen sort of viewer of the show, so forget what I
Maybe he's
said.
not doping. Maybe you've got it wrong.
Maybe he ain't. It's up to the audience. We've said it now. It's up to the audience.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we need to ban him from the channel?
So 2 people got in touch who gave us just a bit of an update on the advice that we'd given them. So first of all, it was James White who said, "Just wanted to say thanks for the advice on the issue with the girl in work from a while back. Since then, I focused on myself."
Yeah.
I think we must have said to him. I'm in line for a promotion, seeing an absolute belter of a girl.
Go on, son.
Taking up running, and I've lost a stone in weight. Thanks again, guys. Love the
Yes! What's his name?
podcast. James White.
James White, mate, all is forgiven. I don't give a
Yeah,
shit
mate.
whether you looked up the answers.
Yeah.
God bless you, because that's what it is. Focus on yourself, and then you can do good for others.
Absolutely buzzing when I read that. Well happy for you, James.
Amazing.
Well done, mate.
So that means actually people are listening to the shit we're saying.
I know.
Mad.
Responsibility.
I mean,
Yeah, whatever. Masal S. Last year I asked you guys, what should I do with this girl that lives in a different country? We matched on Tinder and so on. Do you remember?
yeah.
Just a small update. She came here, stayed for 5 glorious days, and soon she will come again. Oh. In a few months, I will visit
My
her
God.
at her uni. We are making this work, boys. Thanks for your advice.
Yes, make it work.
I, of course, replied saying,
Bit needy if you're
well,
replying to
I
this.
said, what did we say? I can remember it. He said, so apparently I said, Jimbo said, go for it. If you like her that much, then you should try.
Yeah.
Flav said, she will be at uni for 2 years. That's not promising, but good luck to you.
Oh shit, probably not good advice. Good for you, Marcel.
Indeed. So right, this week, Just Jane. I've gone back to Just Jane. And can we please show the picture again, Adam? Because the picture is just hilarious every single week.
Just
I don't know
Jane's
how they're
saucy
making this
romps.
picture. Look at that picture. So, right, this is the headline. Saucy romps with Powell behind wife's back. Can Me and Flav get the advice right in comparison to Just Jane, who gives cracking advice each week on the Daily Star. I've been having regular sex with my best female friend for many years.
Not best friend then, is it?
I'm married now, with children, but she and I still go to bed together whenever we can. Got busy diaries and stuff. I'm not sexually interested in women as such, but I've never been able to get her out of my mind.
Oh, right. I thought his best friend was a boy then. That would be a twist, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise that myself.
Is that what's happened?
I think so.
Well, so he's got a wife and
that makes sense, because later on down the line, Jane's talking about you're going behind your husband's back. Right, this is female advice you're giving.
Sorry.
So the wife,
yeah,
as a friend, and they've been at it.
A woman friend?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, hang on. We always know that our thing can never go any further. That is what it is. But that doesn't stop me from loving and desiring her. I know she feels the same as me.
The thing is, I get it. Is at the end. Is it there can't be much
we also
more.
have our children partners to think of. I love mine to pieces and would never intentionally hurt him.
So yeah, look, I understand this. So she has this thing with this woman. It can't ever go beyond what it is because they've got respective partners. So it doesn't seem like it's just someone getting their rocks off. They have a genuine connection that can never be kind of disclosed. So that's a horrible situation because he clearly loves her, and neither of them want to hurt their parents, their partners,
parents,
and their parents probably, and their kids, because that's a lot more to explain and go through than just say I'm leaving my parent, and by the way, it's my best friend I've known for years. But
what do you do here?
If it was me, I think they probably should. Yeah, they should probably keep it going and never let it go out. Be so careful and never let it go out, because I think if they stop, they'll be drawn to each other anyway. Probably the kindest thing would be to leave the husbands and let them get on with their life with someone that actually genuinely. But she said she loves her husband. Yeah. And she has sex with her husband.
Does it make it less bad that it's someone of the same sex?
No, it doesn't make it less bad, but it in a way actually. But it's a tough one. If it found out it was my partner who was doing it, it would crush me. And if I was doing it, I would feel terrible. But fuck knows, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is really tough, isn't it? So Just Jane said, what did she say? Clearly this secret relationship is playing on your conscience. It doesn't matter which way you dress it up, you're still playing away behind your husband's back.
True.
And the husband's back bit confused me for ages until we just realised that. How would you like it if you found out that she's been sleeping with another one? He's done it again. He's done it again, Flav. Yeah. Or even man for years. That's a good point.
Yeah, you'd be crushed.
How might
but it's hard because that's
take
what
this news?
Ultimately, it feels like that's what the woman wants. But the fallout of that is so huge that it's almost not worth going through.
What about this? One last night. Leave it at that.
Yeah, but then you've got this kind of longing.
No, but you just get it out of your system.
Other problems.
Like, actually, we'll just do it for. Just go. Look, we're going in. This is our last night, and we're gonna have sex for 9 hours, right? You get 9 hours of sex. And by the end of it, it's like pizza. You go, pizza buffet? Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See where I'm going?
And then probably 10.
So, 9-hour sex session, right? Get it out of your system. It's your mates anyway, you're going to keep it quiet.
I don't think it's just sex. I think they love each other and they should be together. Anyway.
Let us know what your advice would be for that.
Let us know. You got any problems, we'll sort them out. Let us know in the comments below.
We did Birds and That earlier, so we're not doing that anymore. If you are still watching or listening to this podcast, then why not subscribe to the podcast?
Save
Do it
Adam's
right now.
job.
We would very much appreciate it. Save Adam's job. Click the like button as well. If you've watched the whole way through, thank you very much, because that allows the podcast to go out to more people. Flav, I hope you get better.
Yeah, cheers.
Adam, you got away with it this week. You just went like that. We'll see you next week.
The 14th September.
Huh?
Kettlebells, I can just use those sandbags.
Shut up about your fucking kettlebells.
I need to get fit, boys. I feel like I've let myself go. I've let myself go.
You got that? You got.